Felyn, we
Hello.
come back to you at the end of a long but fulfilling day back home. Getting to celebrate and reconnect with your culture, your family, your faith after about half a month away. And as the Day of Light comes to an end, uh, you have the honor, especially after missing the opening ceremonies, to go and watch the closing ceremonies as the magic that lets the sun be free today is put back up. So tomorrow at dawn, you and your fellow elves are not blinded. Uh, what would you like to do on this evening?
I think after getting to enjoy the little closing ceremony and letting her eyes have a break,
Mm-hmm.
uh, whenever they are back at the house, at the compound, she's immediately going to her room to start the process of taking off the clothes, taking off the makeup.
Oh yeah, you have to do a long bath, long scrub.
Oh yeah, long scrub. Treating herself to some nice warm water and mayhaps some special soaps,
Oh
fancy
yes,
soaps.
some nice scented oils even.
Yeah.
I think that's delightful. I haven't thought about if there's a bathing culture in Rosona. I imagine most medieval analog cultures have like group bathing situations. So I like the idea that you probably have like in your compound maybe like a dedicated room that's for bathing with like asides for like if you don't want to be like hanging out with the fam having a chat while you're washing your ass, you know what I mean? You got little tubs like behind screens and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I think stuff like that's really cute.
Yeah, I like it.
And you do that and you spend a nice long moment just being like one with yourself and decompressing after a very good day, I think. I feel like Felyn is probably peak content right now, which I think is really cute thinking about.
Oh, 100%. She's fully relaxed in that fucking bath. I think she also perhaps stays in it a bit longer than it's necessary.
Oh, 100%. It's the self-care. It's the treat, you know?
Yeah. But after the bath, I think she'll go ahead and change into her pajamas.
Yes, her little nightgown.
Oh my god. That I think she missed because she didn't take it for the first time and realized, oh, I can't just stay in my casual clothes the entire day.
Yeah.
I cannot stay in them 24/7. Yeah, and I think she'll go ahead and leave the balls. I think just have a little go around, checking on the fam and what they're doing.
Yeah, and I feel like this is another thing that I think is very analogous to stuff you did before you left, to the idea of like going and checking in with people, if not every day, at least most every day. And you talked to like Rast, who you hadn't had a chance to talk to today. Now that Tem and Min are like laid down for sleep. I say even Min laid down for sleep because for Gannon, you're sleepy as fuck. You're tired as hell.
100%.
The idea
Shit's
of
exhausting.
it's exhausting, and also the idea of like laying down, like tucking in not only your child but also your wife, I just find very funny. Um, um, you get to connect with Vuk, who is off doing other things, and you get to really sit and see how people are doing today might not have been the most exciting for some people, as it's a day of fun and relaxation, but you also haven't been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You would glean. I'm trying to think if anything big would have happened in 2 weeks. I think you would glean that Min's pregnancy is going according to plan. The current projected due date, I want to say, is in about a month. Obviously that could go like sooner or longer, because that would be like the traditional like 9 months situation, you know. And so that's what they're looking at right now. Vuk would tell you about some of the shows that they've done recently and about how it seems that their money is picking up. So that's very exciting in like an artist's life when you're getting to the point where that's like something viable for you, you know?
Yeah.
Merritt is enjoying his job still. He thinks that he's probably going to stay with this job until retirement, as long as nothing comes up. And they're starting to hire more work, so now he's getting to sort of be like he's not the owner, but he's also like now kind of like the manager, as there's like other people running around doing stuff. So that's interesting. Chandra is still studying to try and get into the Marble Tomes. She's still a bit young to even get in, so it's not a stretch that she's not in. Like if she was in right now, she would have to be a genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's like working up there, and she has like very realistic expectations of like trying to get in to study for her goals.
Sorry, I'm writing stuff down. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
I love Adim.
I like him a lot.
I think touching on each of these little bits, you don't have to sort of like expand on this stuff.
Yeah.
But just little bits that Felyn would try and do in these interactions. For Min's pregnancy, I think she would ask about like, oh, how is nursery coming along, and is there anything that that I could maybe like help you get or anything? And for Vuk, I think Felyn would absolutely want to see whatever it is that they're working on now. For Merit, I think she'd just have a little bit of banter of like, oh, if you aren't careful, you're gonna own that shop by the time you reach retirement. And with Chandra, I think Felyn would just have a little talk of giving some tips for studying, but also giving her a talk of don't work yourself ragged now. You can't get into the Marble Tomes if you're knocked out.
God, you're so right. I like listening to Felyn talk to the family, because I know that we've like, sorry, I'm gonna go off on an aside because I really like it. I know that like we talk about like out of character a lot, like, oh yeah, because of Felyn's like consecuted status, of course you're like the elder, and like people come to you for stuff, and you like are a person who like gives a lot of like advice like an elder. You're literally the elder of this like den. But then I really like also seeing it in action, because I feel like you run with it really well, and I like that it's not just something we say, it's something that Felyn does. I don't know, I really like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes. Also, I rolled because I was very intrigued with the like sort of things you were bringing up about Min's pregnancy. I think it might be twins.
Oh!
I think that that's a feeling that Rast is saying, is like, we think that this is what's going on right now. And so yeah, so like Rast is like tentatively, there might be a lot of extra work on the setup, but like Min doesn't want me to like go making things for two, but like what if there is two? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And I think that's really fun. I think Chandra really enjoys that talk from you, especially because like I said, I think that she's holding really healthy expectations about it. And I think that by the end of it, I will say that I do think that like you feel comfortable in knowing that she isn't like she's not like overworking herself, but she's also like not so focused on it that like you think it would upset her if she's not in at the earliest possible convenience. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it is a very realistic goal. I think she's a very down to earth person.
Yeah.
And I think Mara just really likes that comment and be like, oh god, no. Not this again. And I think you have a really fun and cute moment connecting with your family. I don't know, it's just really cute.
I love a them.
I like them.
Nice. I think after checking in with the fam, I do think she'd go ahead and check in on wherever the house guests are on the grounds.
Yeah, I definitely think you can pop in and check on them. I think that, like, do you think, because we've discussed that there's, like, a little guest wing, do you think that there's, like, how many guest rooms do you think you guys would feasibly have? Like, I'm gonna trust your gut on this, but, like, I also, like, don't want to say that there's, like, a ton if there's only, like, a handful of them, because Will and Rowan are more than willing to just share a room. And so I wanted to know if, like, you would have to, like, come in, pop in, like, hey, Rowan, how you doing? Pop in, hey, Willie, how you doing? You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
I'm gonna say probably like 1 or 2 rooms, because this is a big compound, but it's also not like we ain't top class here. We're up there on the ladder, but we're not.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I definitely imagine that it's probably a situation of like Dove gets a single room and then Will and Rowan are like, I mean, I don't really care if I have a double room, it's fine. And so you pop in. I think that they are also sort of settling down. I think that when you come in, actually, something that I think is really cute. I haven't thought about how Rowan's doing this whole time. I probably should have, because I knew I should have known you would have checked on her. But I do like the idea that maybe whenever you like knock and like peek your head in, I think that they are both like sitting on one of the beds, like sort of dressed down back in their tunics and sort of just talking, like, you know, whenever like you both sit on a bed and you like face each other and you're like just chit chatting.
Yeah.
Like a knee up, so you're fully turned. I feel like that's just kind of like the vibe, and I do think in the spirit of like how it's been like kind of exciting and kind of fun, I think that like when you come to check in on them, I do think that Rowan would invite you to come over and sit. You don't have to have this conversation be role played out or have it be any big thing, but I do like the idea that like you were intentionally included to come and talk to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think during that conversation, Flynn would ask them about their thoughts on the festivities, if they enjoyed their time.
Oh, that's cute. I definitely think that they had a lot of fun. So I mentioned this a little bit, like, subtly in the game, but I think they both would, like, tell you that they find it actually really interesting and really fun to kind of explore a new plane as planeswalkers, because it's something that they've done a couple times, but it's like, it never really loses that luster of, like, you are in somewhere entirely different, but also, like, you can always connect with people that are really different than you. And so I think that they thought that that was really fun and really cool. I think that Will is a bit too polite to say this, but I do think that Rowan would kind of like probably make a joke about like the fact that she like does think she did like not really understand like the ceremony and the religious aspect of it, but like, I mean, do you ever really like understand where like a holiday or a festival really comes from? You know what I mean? So like it's just like a situation that like we've discussed before where like they don't really understand religion. But I think that Rowan is very casual with mentioning it, and Will is just like, dude, shut up. What if she thinks we're making fun of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Felyn is very understanding of that. I think she would offer if they would like to have a bit of context, if they'd like to know a little bit of the history behind it.
I think that they would. I think that they would be interested in the concept, and I think the idea of giving the context is really interesting because even if they don't like fully like get it, the idea of having context but also still like going there and enjoying what it was for what it was, I also think is really like fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Felyn would kind of just focus on explaining what the big performance meant, since that's what they saw, and talking about like for a long time we were stuck in the Underdark, and then we found the Luxon and guided us through, and so on and so forth.
And then we didn't have to live in the Underdark, and also fuck spiders.
Yes, fuck spiders. I don't like them, they scare me. They tell us stories when we're young about it.
Spiders to Jorhasi and Drow are like fucking coyotes to Native American stories. They are just trickster bastards. Don't mess with me, please. Please leave me alone.
Do not mess with me. Do not listen to their lies.
Literally.
But yeah.
Now, I have put you in a difficult predicament that he didn't expect you to, where now you have to intentionally get Will alone, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I think Felyn would ask them if either of them would like a tour of the grounds, because I don't think she got to actually do that when they first arrived.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. And also, I have now found a way to help you, because something that I think is very fun is the idea of like Will would probably definitely like, I don't want to say immediately, I don't want to say he's too eager, but he is like eager, and I think he would like the idea of it. And so I like the idea that you see Rowan just kind of like give him a little smile, and she's just like, no, I'm tired. You have fun though.
Of course. I hope you get a plentiful rest.
She looks like she's gonna say something that looks kind of cheeky, but then she's just gonna give a shrug and say, I think I will.
Felyn gives a nod, and then we'll look to Will and gesture to the door and say, shall we?
He'll give a bit of a smile and say, of course, lead the way.
Step, 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 step.
Step, 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 step. The ghost of a wolf whistle travels to you, the player, not Felyn.
Okay, so I think I don't think she's gonna like go into the abodes of her other family members, because those are their houses. But she would show him around like the rest of the grounds, like the garden's little pond. There's somewhere on the lot that I sent, there's like a little corner that has like a little shrine.
Ooh, that's cute.
Yeah, so I think she'd also go ahead and show him that, show him where the baths are, and all the common rooms in the main house.
What kind of common rooms you got in the main house? A lot of sitting rooms?
Yeah, a lot of sitting rooms. There's the entrance, and then there's the like living room area, and then there's the kitchen and the library.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the library. I really like your library.
Thank you. Yeah, I think she just go ahead and give him a tour and like point out some of the more statement pieces and or sentimental aspects. and share some stories.
Oh, I have a
Yeah.
very. Oh, I just realized I have a very interesting question that I think Will would feel very comfortable asking.
Oh.
Uh, hey, so you remember that painting of you and Nim and your son?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to be like sad, but he like wouldn't know because I don't think anybody's ever like connected and been like, oh yeah, that's who Felyn was. And he doesn't know that you used to be married to Nim. So I do think that he would look at like this big painting of like a family in this family home and he would ask who it is because that's extremely normal where he's from.
Yeah. Flynn would look to the painting, and she's been happy giving him this tour, and so she was smiling when he like goes to ask that question. And she looks to the painting, and her smile gets a little bit of a bittersweet tinge to it.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll say, that was me in my first life. And she'll she's gonna kind of like guesstimate like how long ago the painting was. And I realized I never gave a name to her son.
Oh, that is so fair. If you want to either do that now, you can, or you can do that later. We can just establish that you like tell him. But I also, oh yeah, feel free to go ahead and do that. I do think that as soon as you say, I think something really interesting. As soon as you say like, oh, that was me in my like first life, I think like Will kind of gives a very simple like, oh, you know what I mean? And not like it's like fallen, but it's like it's like a situation of like, I should have realized, and like that makes sense because again, you have to like remember he keeps like not conceptualizing the fact that you are reincarnated, you know what I mean? It's like a hard thing to really grasp.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of listens to your stuff. I'll wait to see if you want to pick something out first.
I'm gonna say kid's name was Thurai.
Okay, I like that.
Yes, Thurai Salrai.
I love it, the rhyming.
Yes. How's she gonna say this? I think she's just kind of continuing an explanation of like the painting and whatnot. I was just gonna say this was when them and I were still entangled in a more romantic sense. I believe that I was around 10 here. You can see his horns kind of coming in.
Nar, this is really cute, Nar. I think that like as you're sort of looking at the painting and like talking about it, it is very bittersweet, and so you're more focused sort of internally on that. But I do think that you can kind of notice the sort of expressions that plays on Will's face. He keeps it mostly cool, but you can sense the sort of understanding of like you had an entire life before now, you know what I mean? And I think that that's interesting context to give him as somebody who's still learning about this thing that's very normal to like you and your culture.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to kind of nod slowly and say, I see. It's a lovely painting, and I was going to say I'm sure you made a lovely family, but you still are, yes?
Flynn gets a big kind of sappy smile. And she says, "Yes, we are."
I think he's gonna kind of reach out and sort of put a hand on your shoulder a bit, as sort of like an empathizing gesture, I suppose.
Yeah. Flynn will kind of just look up at him with that smile, and then she kind of looks like she's thinking a bit. And she says, "I don't know what this." There's gonna be a lot of this session, and I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's gonna be like that for me too. I'm so particular about how my OCs say things that I know it always takes me like 3 minutes to answer a question. Don't even worry about it.
I think she's going to say, "This is, I believe I've realized something," and then she's going to think for a little bit more. Then she's going to the smile returns this time, a little bit of a scheming one. And she says, "I have an offer for you."
An offer?
This, I have realized that we have not actually gotten to talk much about ourselves, and I find myself wishing to know you more. But, in the spirit of festivities, how about to make a game of it?
I think as you say this, he's already like kind of amused at the idea of like you have a scheming idea, and he's like, oh, this might be good. And then I think the idea that like you see him like look appreciative of the gesture, but then also like again intrigued by like the idea of like a game, and he is going to, I think, say, I think he's gonna kind of give a bit of a laugh and say, I had thought our merry band gamed out after this afternoon. Did you have anything specific in mind?
I might have something. Come with me. And she's going to lead him into I'm gonna say the living room, because there's a nice table there.
He will definitely go and take a seat across from you.
Nice. And I imagine on the shelves in that hand, I'm looking up pictures of the living room again, so I can have reference for myself.
You're so valid.
Because imagine on the shelves in that room, there's like all the like toys and like some games and whatnot. And this was gonna be like a card game, wasn't it?
I think it's based on a card game, but we also could just say that since we're using dice, they are using dice. I think that could be cute also.
Okay. I think Felyn will walk up to one of the shelves. And imagine there's like either like a little mug or a little pouch that just has like a little collection of game dice. She's gonna pick some out. She's going to walk over back to the little table, and she's gonna sit down. She will sort of explain the rules of the game.
Yeah, so I'm going to come out of character really quick to explain to the video in case we ever forget that this is immortalized. So this is the dice version of higher or lower, and the way that it is going to work is each turn, the roller will roll a d20, and it will set a DC. So as an example, I just rolled a 14. The guesser will have to say whether what they roll will be higher or lower, and then roll. And so if they roll, I got a 10. So if I said higher and then rolled that 10, I would lose. And then the loser has to answer a question. But if you win, you get to ask a question. And it goes back and forth.
Nice.
Explanation over.
Yes. Yeah, so she'll explain that and then hand Will his dice.
Nice. I think that as he started listening, he's kind of like looking over this dice, and I feel like these are like, they're not cheap dice, but I do think they're well worn, well loved. And I think that he's sort of like inspecting them as you're explaining, and you can see sort of a bit of a twitch to his lips in like a ghost of a smile, and he is going to say, interesting. And I assume in the spirit of the game, these are truthful answers, yes?
She laughs at her and she says, ideally, yes.
He's going to laugh and say, don't worry, I assure you, lying hasn't ever come particularly natural to me, so. Well.
Glad I can look forward to an honest game then.
You are the host. Would you like to start?
She'll just go ahead and nod, and she'll roll the thing.
Delicious.
Yeah. That's a nat 20.
Okay, well, very interesting. I think Will's comment would just be, well, I suppose this round is an easy win. For me, I assume lower. But perhaps I'll be unlucky and match. Let me go ahead and roll just in case. Okay, yeah, I got a 14, so definitely lower. And Will is going to kind of, I feel like Will is like a very receptive and vocal person when learning stuff, so I think he's going to like verbally be like, so I ask a question. All right, and you see he thinks about it for a second. And I think his question is going to start with, why did you accept the invitation to Strixhaven?
I think Felyn doesn't have to think that long about her answer to this. She will explain. A part of my faith is experiences. That's part of why we have consecutions, to gain more experience and understanding. And I have never really been outside of this city, and this seemed like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So I was biting at the bits, so to speak, to go.
That's understandable. It does sound quite fantastical. I'm not quite sure I would have believed it until I had seen it for my own eyes. I suppose it's my roll then. I'm gonna roll this blue dice for William.
Blue.
I have gotten a 13.
I'm going to guess Lower.
Okay.
5.
It seems you've won a question.
Just gonna kind of think for a bit, just looking at him. Here's a question. I have noticed you have quite the affinity for the colder side of Arcana. Can I ask how that came about?
You see him kind of give a bit of a sheepish laugh, and he says, I'm afraid my answer might be dull, but I suppose the decision was made for me, actually. Elemental magic is sort of the only way that me or Rowan have ever had our mage abilities manifest. Of course, now that I'm here at Strixhaven, I feel more knowledgeable about the subjects and how things work, but any sort of actual practical spell casting, I've only ever really been able to do that sort of thing. Even my more even my less icy he makes like finger quotes spells are things like the temperature manipulation of my leg. So I don't really have anything else in my arsenal. Makes it easy to focus on one study.
I suppose it does. I have to keep thinking about how to word it. I think she would say, I think having such a focused specialty isn't a bad thing. I mean, you're very skilled at it.
I think that sentiment makes him smile, and he says, thank you. I'm glad that it doesn't... Well, I'm glad that other people see that the same way as I do. It is sort of embarrassing to discuss that when you go to a magic university with all of the magic in the multiverse, though.
It is quite the suddenly overwhelming pasture. She'll go ahead and take her turn.
Delicious.
CX.
CX. Okay. I am going to guess higher. Probability on my side. I got a 7. Hilarious. I almost didn't win that one. So then he gets a question. And I think he thinks about it for a second. What do you actually think about being a planeswalker? In a personal sense.
Thinks on it for a bit. To be completely honest, I don't think I have really fully grasped the concept of it. In a purely conceptual sense, it sounds like a wonder to be able to walk from plane to plane and see all these places. But when I take a second longer to think about it, it is a bit frightening.
He nods and he says, understand that completely. You'd think after years it would be easier, but maybe it's because me and Rowan are less experienced than other planeswalkers we've met, but I feel like we're still dipping our toes in, so to speak. But it wasn't my answer, so.
I enjoyed hearing it all the same.
I'm glad you did. I'll try to be a bit better about giving away free secrets. I think that's me.
Thanks.
I like this game. I think it's a fun back and forth.
Yeah.
I have rolled a 15.
15. I'm gonna say lower.
Fair enough.
20 again.
Oh my god, why are you getting nat 20s on a question mini session?
I'm wasting all of my luck on this.
I like the idea that Will probably makes a comment that, well, in any other game, I suppose those would be lucky rolls. I feel like I've almost swindled you out of an extra question, but...
It is the name of the game.
This might be an indelicate question, but I will admit I know very little on the subject. When your past life, I assume there is something that you did to be able to live again as you have. What did that entail? What did you have to do?
This is not an incorrect assumption. Consecution is a process, particularly a religious one, though technically speaking, you do not. Technically speaking, you do not have to attain it by religious means. We have artifacts that are pieces of our god. They are called Luxon beacons. And we involve them in many of our more important ceremonies. And when you are to be consecrated, you undergo a ritual in which you stare into the beacon, and the Luxon will determine if you are ready for it or not. And if you are, then your soul is bound to it.
I think that he nods and he says, I'm sure in actuality it is probably more complicated than I'm understanding, but we have similar ceremonies in Eldraine. So to me it is not that confusing, I suppose.
I'm glad to hear that someone else has at least somewhat of a familiarity with it. Alright. My turn.
Delicious.
8.
8. I'm gonna try for higher. I got a 19. Sorry for another question. But we like questions in this house.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. Uh, I suppose on the same topic, as it's the one I'm most curious about, if I can be frank. And you see he like takes a minute to sort of pick the way he wants to ask this question, but I feel like at the end he sort of relents with a very simple, is there a difference between Felyn and Devine? And you see he kind of like gestures to like you, but then he also gestures to the painting.
I think she looks the slightest bit caught off guard, not because of like it's an inappropriate thing, but just in the sense of like she wasn't fully expecting that question.
Understandable.
She pauses for a moment and she thinks. That is quite the question, isn't it?
I apologize if it overstepped anything.
No, it is okay. My answer may be a bit long-winded, so please stop me if it gets too much. So it is somewhat difficult to sum up. Technically speaking, the answer is both yes and no. They are both me and I am them, but the experiences have been very different. And I found that oftentimes they can butt heads. You know this already, but Zavine was my first life. Ferendira is my second. And I've kind of chosen to go by just Felyn in an effort to merge them in a way. The biggest difference comes in the upbringing of my two youths, as well as the fact that in this life I am still fairly young. Felendira did not get the same amount of individual experience as I was Zveen. I grew up in the Coronas with nothing to my name. And it was with my family that we were able to work very hard to get where we are today and make a name for ourselves. As for Indira, I never had to worry about things like food or resources. I never truly had to work for something. I was born into a noble den this time around. I do think that particular upbringing led to me being a bit more reckless in this life.
I think what's the most interesting thing about Will, as you're sort of explaining this, is I think like the amount of empathy you can see in how he's listening to you. He doesn't go to speak or ask any elaborating questions. He just lets you talk about this thing that to him feels literally metaphysical. It's something to do with the soul, you know, that sort of thing. And I think at the end of it, I think that he is going to kind of think over what he's going to say again, and I think he's going to say, I hope that you also don't think that this is overstepping anything, but it sounds like it was hard.
Uh, oh.
I hope you like this sort of awkward sort of empathy in the way that he is gleaning things from this. I don't think he's saying this with any negative intent. I think he's saying, like, it's his own way of saying, like, I'm sorry if any of this was a hardship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Uh, she gets a bit of a sad smile and kind of glances down at the table. Says, uh, it it was. But I had a lot of help through it.
I'm glad for you.
I'm in a much better place than I was. She kind of takes a breath. She's all right. I'm gonna get you this time.
I hope you can.
12.
Okay. I'm gonna oh, that's right. That's like right in the middle. I'm gonna try lower. I also got a 12. I don't know what this means.
Flynn just looks at the dice and says,
I think I honestly think that you guys just kind of stare at it for a second. And I think he's gonna say something similar to what I said, where he's like, I'm not sure if the rules said anything about this, but I've been taking a lot of pot shots at you. I think you deserve a little something.
she laughs a little bit. She says, I thank you for your mercy.
Of course, I know when to concede.
Now I gotta choose a question.
Yes. I feel like we're starting to get into like the not the super heavy stuff, but like heavier stuff, and I think that's like, ooh.
Yes. Excuse me. Sorry, my dad came in with mail.
No, you're okay.
Okay. Okay. She's gonna think for a bit. She's going to say, she's gonna say before Strixhaven and Planewalkers and everything, What were your goals? What did you want to do?
I think he looks surprised by the question, but intrigued. Where did the music go? Come back here. Oh, I'm just a fool. I don't know how to loop things. Okay, that's fine. It's back now. I think he's gonna look surprised but intrigued, and he's going to kind of give a bit of a sheepish laugh and say, "Well, I suppose things might have been easier if I hadn't had any. But me and Rowan growing up had very specific goals for our lives, actually. I've explained lightly that Eldraine is a land with 5 realms, and they all have their own cultures, the virtues that they hold, the things that they specialize in, that sort of thing. Um, Specifically, I was relatively well read. I wouldn't say I was particularly a genius or anything, but I enjoyed the idea of seeking out knowledge. And so growing up, I had resolved myself to find a secret to barter to the magic mirror of Vantris so that I could gain knighthood there. Uh, it's a bit hard to explain, but that's the sort of virtue that they follow is knowledge. Generally, Knights of Vantris go with the intent of specializing in a certain field of knowledge. I knew a person who had studied Fey hexes for over a decade, and that's how she earned her knighthood. But that was my goal.
This is an honorable one.
Thank you. It's interesting to think about how we left things because me and Rowan were given our knighthood at Ardenvale once we returned recently. But even though I did barter a secret to the mirror, I don't think Vantris ever officially wanted to give me my knighthood for it. To be
Was the
fair,
mirror picky?
Huh?
Was the mirror picky?
No, it accepted it. I suppose it's because I asked for something else in the moment. So I'll have to find another one if I want to finagle that second one.
Sorry, I was adding a question to my list of questions.
Delicious. We love adding questions. But I think after that he's going to kind of clear his throat and say, but I suppose it's my turn now. Ah, a 4.
I feel pretty safe in betting higher.
Understandable. I would be surprised if you didn't.
19.
Yes, ma'am.
She's gonna say, well, now because you have piqued my curiosity, what did you ask the mirror?
It's a very specific question in a longer story, but to give you the succinct answer to your question, I traded knowledge for knowledge, I suppose. It was a stop we visited on the quest to find our father. And so when I traded my secret, I asked for knowledge of where he was.
Felyn nods, and she has this look on her face of like, she's being given this information and is simultaneously trying to puzzle it together while also not making assumptions.
That's so interesting and fair, because it's like, I think that's something Felyn is probably good at as a character, and two, like, that's also just like a good way to do things, because like you could piece together what happened, sure, but would it be correct? Probably not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think that he would kind of give a bit of a laugh and say, of course I could elaborate on it, but well, what did I say about trying not to give away free secrets?
I cannot blame you. Alright, well, let's see if I can get another secret out. Cool. Another 12.
Oh my god, fuck. Okay. Statistically, I'm gonna try to do lower, just because I think that that'll get me. But the middle ones always fuck me, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a 1. And I saw the nat 1, and I don't know why I paused so long getting scared whenever this isn't a something you can nat fail. But I got a 1, so I assume that means I get to ask another question.
You do.
Okay. Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to pick between two that I have, where one is like really light, but then the other one is like really heavy, and I'm like, am I stepping this up this fast? We'll see.
If you don't, I'm about to next time I get a question.
Okay, then I might just go ahead. And I think that he has the self-awareness to feel awkward asking this question. But I think that you can see him kind of pull together his nerve, and he's going to look you in the eye to ask this, and I think he's going to say, to get from your last life to this one, again, I am making assumptions, but did Devine die?
Felyn just very simply nods her head. And she says, yes, I did.
I suppose I wasted my question with Alita, but if you are willing to elaborate, my true question is, I was curious if you remembered it.
She gives a half of a laugh, and she kind of puts her elbows on the table and kind of leans forward, and has a bit of a smile. She says, I will allow you this one. Well, I do remember it. Luckily, I died from natural causes. Just old age. It was slow. Painless, but slow. She kind of looks in kind of like the middle distance, like she's kind of cataloging through her mind, like playing through the sensations again.
Yeah.
She says, "You can sort of you feel your body starting to shut off, uh, almost one function at a time, though not as succinctly. It's when it happens, your breath starts to slow. It gets shallower. Your heart rate starts to decline, to the point where the beats are far enough apart. The sound becomes a bit booming, even when your hearing has gone. Your vision becomes blurry until it's nothing but shapes, and there is a calm to it, almost. There is an instinctual fear that comes with dying, but as you are laying there and you are fading, the darkness that overtakes is it's almost comforting. The very last thing I experienced, the very last memory that I have from that life was my breath leaving me and a light in the distance calling to me. She gives like a bit of a laugh. When I was going through anamnesis and I had that memory return to me, it suddenly felt very odd to be in a body that was breathing.
I feel like that comment kind of makes Will give a huff of a laugh, and just says, "I'll bet." Thank you for sharing with
me. She looks a bit tired, but she gives a nod with a smile. And she kind of picks herself up from whatever headspace that she was in. She says, "All right, you set a bit of a precedent, so I'm not holding back next time."
I don't think he looks bothered by it, but I do think it kind of makes him crack a bit of a smile, and he says, "Don't worry, I wouldn't expect you not to. I only hope that I didn't ruin any particular mood that this had."
No.
And I think after you saying that, he is reminded that it's his turn. I feel like it takes him like a long time to start back up after that comment. You can't really glean any particular reason why. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll. I got a 17.
17. I'm gonna guess lower.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get it.
5.
Okay, me T-posing. Hey, actually, hold on. I have to pee, so I'm gonna pee really quick while you formulate how bad you're gonna decimate this boy. And hello, we're unpaused. How's it going, gamer?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I had to plug in my headset, and I always get nervous that it's gonna mess up the audio. Okay. So.
Yeah.
um, Flynn thinks for a moment. And a mirror of what Will was doing earlier, trying to find a more delicate way
Mm-hmm.
to phrase this question before just giving it up. She says, "Be blunt. What what happened in Algerian? You have mentioned and alluded to some things, but what is the story?"
Uh, you see him kind of give a bit of a laugh as he kind of looks up. And I feel like he kind of says in sort of this like rueful but playful way, uh, what didn't happen in Eldraine? And you feel like that's to himself. And he's going to pause for a second and say, I assume you mean when the spark ignited?
Yeah, she just nods.
Well, it's a long story with a lot of things happening all at once, but to summarize it, because of a thing that me and Rowan did, we invited something terrible to happen to our father. He was spirited away during a grand procession outside of Castle Ardenvale, and for 3 months we did not know where he had gone. And after those 3 months, me and Rowan turned 18, and we realized we couldn't sit and wait any longer. Not with what was happening in our own court, the sort of whispers about what happened, who might have done it. And so we went on our first quest. You can't go on quests until you're of age in Eldraine. So we had to wait. And we went with me and Rowan's two best friends, a knight by the name of Titus, and a healer by the name of Cerise, and Kato, who is the right-hand man of our father. And we traveled through a couple of the realms. I will not bog you down with the details. But we eventually came to the wilds to find him, as he had been transformed into a stag to be used in a Fey ritual called the Hunt as a sacrifice. We lost people along the way, almost lost ourselves, and when it came to save our father, we couldn't. He died because we could not stop the ritual after it had started. Thankfully, our mother Lyndon managed to bring him back. Revival isn't common in Eldraine, but it's a thing that can happen. There are ways to have items powerful enough to do that. But he was brought back, and if that doesn't already sound like a hotbed of emotions for two young knights setting out on their first excursion, what really tripped the spark was after that was finished, our father and our mother decided to because of things that had been discovered on the journey, tell us the truth about our birth mother. And the stress of the journey and the grief of losing our friend Titus, almost losing our father, and the shock of being lied to on top of the distressing truth of the circumstances of our birth caused Rowan's spark to ignite. And because we share a spark, mine did as well. And we woke up in Kylam. That's what happened.
I've been rapidly writing.
Hope you like it.
Think as Felyn is hearing the story go on, she gets a look of like sympathy. And like almost like a bit of grief on behalf of him. How am I gonna have to respond to this?
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know how I would respond to it. This is like a trauma dump, but it's also only half of the trauma dump. But it's already so much.
It's so much. Ooh. Oh, God. I feel like it's gonna take me a hot minute to gather my thoughts on this. Would it be possible to pause the recording real quick?
Yes, I will pause it. You want to do a what roll?
I want to do an insight roll.
Tell me what you are looking for in this moment.
I think Felyn is specifically looking if Will is blaming himself for this, because I, Sarah, know this. But I don't know if Felyn does.
Yeah. Roll me an insight and see if you can see where the blame is falling.
22.
Yeah. I think that he looks tired and weary talking about it. It is less open wound pain, right? But you can tell by the way he speaks about this and from what he said at the beginning, he does believe that even if maybe he did not cause every single thing to happen in this thing, that the blame lands solely on him and Rowan's feet and no one else. Like, this is not something that would have randomly happened. That is something happened directly because of something that they did. And he knows that in his heart of hearts. Whether or not it is true to the universe, to him, he is like, this would not happen if we had done something differently in the beginning. And it's in that way where it's like, how do I word it? It's like, people could argue and say like, oh, it's because of this or XYZ, but he like 100% believes that whether it was destiny or whether it was chance, it's because it comes back to him. Does that make sense? And there is a myriad reasons that I cannot elaborate to you because this is an inside roll.
Yes. And what you like just said this. What is his face looking like right now?
It's sort of like it's like tired and weary as opposed to just outright pain. But he is like also has not been able to like look you in the face while talking about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there is upset there is pain there, but it is not like active. So it's like not like the act of talking about it is upsetting him. It is the act of having to ruminate on what you can glean and what Onyx has like insinuated is like the worst moment of his life. You know?
Mm-hmm.
The spark igniting is always because of the worst thing imaginable that could happen to you. Yes. I like thinking about the Kenriths because the thing about the Kenriths and what happened to them is like obviously like the older you get and the farther away you get from things that are like traumatic and that upset you, like you get better at dealing with them. But I think something very interesting about this is it's one of those things that I do not know if they will be ever be able to like fully get over because of how much it was. You know what I mean? I love
Can risk gonna make me
agony.
fucking cry.
I'm sorry. I love agony.
I love agony and I love them.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I have a concrete idea. I just need to finish typing it so I can get the words right. I'm so
Wow.
sorry for how long this is taking.
No, it's a-okay. I love long shit. I love listening to my players talk. pause real quick because Ash is going to come out here and get food. And we're back.
I also...
Yeah.
Hello. I also cannot help but feel that what I am about to say might be a bit risky, if only because I'm not 100% sure how he will respond to this.
Okay.
Okay. So I think in response to hearing all of that, she's going to gently place one of her hands on his. Just sort of looks up at him.
I think he turns his hand to hold your hand.
Oh!
Yeah.
And she says, well, I'm so sorry. I can't even begin to imagine what that must have been like. And she kind of studies his face for a little bit, kind of looking into his eyes and trying to make an attempt to like catch them so that he's looking at her.
I think if you do that, I think that he will kind of eventually bring his gaze back down. I will also say, again, I don't want to make this into a conversation when it's like when you have your whole thing planned out, but I do say that if you like legitimately say like I'm sorry, like I can't imagine how hard that must have been. I think something really emo that Will would say to Felyn specifically would be like, I hope you never have to know how hard something like that can be. Thanks, because I love bringing the callbacks to like Will and Rowan. Legitimately, their main reason for helping you is because they legitimately want to make sure that when your spark ignites, it is not that bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think okay. I think she can have a little bit of a response to that before getting into
Okay.
everything else I wrote down. She's going to give like a little hint of a soft smile. She's going to say, God damn it, I keep...
I'm sorry I derailed you. I'm sorry. I just really thought it was an important thing that he would want to convey to Felyn. I'm sorry.
No. Do not apologize. This is incredibly juicy. This is on me for being too particular about words.
God, you're so valid. As a writer, I understand.
I think she'll give a little hint of a soft smile, a soft squeeze to his hand, and say, I feel safer in your care.
Oh, fuck.
And she's gonna quiet for a moment, kind of thinking of whether or not she should start saying this. And she just says, kind of quietly, please stop me if I'm overstepping, but she kind of squints. She's still kind of studying his face in a way where she's like, it's clear that she's like reading him. And she says, you carry such a weight on your shoulders, and I cannot help but worry about the toll it takes on you. To carry such things is already far more than anyone should have to, but even more so when you take so much of it onto just yourself. And her hand tightens a bit again. We are so much more than our pasts, though we will always hold them with us. You are worthy of rest and respite, of joy and freedom. I ask this of you, though you need not heed it, but if you ever wish help or respite from the weight you carry, I freely offer myself in any way I could possibly help.
That shit's gay.
Yeah.
That's gay. I lay on the ground. That's gay. I think Will is gonna squeeze her hand, and I think Will is gonna kind of nod and not say anything for a second. And I think he's going to say thank you. And I think he's going to continue after that after a bit and say time has already helped and time will continue to help. The thing about pain and sadness and loss is that it may never get smaller or go away, but with the greater you grow and your life expands, the easier it is to carry.
She gives a smile at that. She just says, I know this all too well.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
She just said, I know this all too well.
Oh, okay, cool. I wanted to make sure I understood, and I'm like, ooh, we love the bonding over agony. I don't think Will would immediately go to say anything else after that. I think he just sits in this moment with you holding your hand. And I think if you want to continue the game, I think you will have to bring up the concept. I don't think he'll be against it, but I just think that he is not going to immediately be like, okay, it's someone else's turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say also, you technically have the option of trying to just ask him questions and see if he will answer them. It depends on if you are trying to keep up the pretense of the game or if you are just talking now, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I think... At this point, if I'm being in character,
yeah,
Lynn would think that's enough for the night. And I think after a while, she'd kind of think for a bit. And she kind of sit back a little bit, not really taking her hand out of his, but like loosening the hold that she had.
Yeah.
And she's gonna kind of sigh, like shake her head out. And she's going to say, I think this is a lot of emotions for one night. I think I have something that could lighten the mood.
I think that he would kind of smile a bit and say, it would be rude of me to not humor my host's wishes. What did you have in mind?
She'll go ahead and start to stand. Kind of trying to like rise him up with her. And she's going to say, I haven't gotten to show you the library yet.
You have a library here, a personal one?
The whole collection.
Well, far be it from me to, I don't know if I want to say it like that. I think, I'm gay. I can't be not gay. I think he's gonna say something like, far be it from me to deny you anything when you make such a hard bargain. But since you're twisting my arm, I suppose I'll look at your book collection. But he looks like he's like grinning, you know what I mean? And he's extremely interested.
Delightful. Lynn's gonna take him upstairs and to the library.
And you guys are gonna spend time in the library.
Yeah.
That's gay. I like that.
Gay.
Gay, gay, homo, gay.
Gay, gay, homo, gay.
I like them a normal amount.
I like them a normal amount. I am very neurotypical about them.
Literally. I think this is a really good time to kind of like leave off because you guys can spend a little bit of time before like Will has to sleep as, you know, an 8-hour sleeper. But if there's any other like thing you want to say that you're like definitely doing, you can go ahead and put it at the end of here. Or again, if you have other questions that like are lighter that you want to ask Will as conversational, you can DM me, I'll give you an answer, that sort of thing.
Okay. I can't think of anything specific other than I think Felyn is also specifically showing him some of her favorite books.
Oh, delightful. I think he's very interested. And I like to imagine that he would like be like conversational about like books that he really likes from home and that sort of thing. I think that that's a really fun bonding that you guys can have.
Nerds!
Nerds! Okay, I'm gonna stop recording so I can upload this.
Yes.